Before you ever chose what to believe, someone had already begun teaching you what was true. You were born into a particular family, in a particular country, at a particular moment in history. You did not choose the language in which you first heard the word God. You did not choose the sacred stories told to you, the rituals practiced around you, or the moral boundaries drawn before you were old enough to question them. Had you been born elsewhere, you might have inherited another scripture, another name for the divine, another understanding of sin, duty, salvation, and the meaning of life. This does not prove that your beliefs are false or that another person's beliefs are true. It reveals something more basic. Before belief becomes a conscious conviction, it often begins as an inheritance. And this is true far beyond religion. Your family gave you its fears, your culture gave you its values, your country gave you its heroes and enemies. Your experiences taught you what felt safe, what earned approval, and what invited punishment. Much of this entered your mind before you possessed the words to examine it. Eventually, those inherited voices began speaking in the first person. I believe. I should. I ought to. I must. People like me do not do that. This is simply who I am. But how much of the person saying those words did you consciously choose? We imagine free will as the power to select between possibilities, stay or leave, speak or remain silent, follow one road or another. But what if one choice is shaped by fear, the other by guilt, and both by the need to belong? If you say yes because saying no feels dangerous, is that freedom? If you remain in a life you do not want because obligation makes every alternative feel selfish, is that free will? If safety chooses before desire is allowed to speak, who made the decision? Fear is not necessarily an enemy. It protects us from danger. Guilt can preserve relationships. Obligation can hold families together. The need for safety and survival keeps us alive. These forces are not evil, but a program designed to protect you can continue running long after the danger has passed. A child learns that disagreement leads to rejection.
Years later,
the adult calls silence a choice.
a child.
Learns that love must be earned.
Years later,
The adult calls exhaustion devotion. The program changes its vocabulary, but not its direction. Perhaps much of what we call free will is conditioned will, shaped by biology, memory, culture, fear, habit, love, loss, and the expectations of other people. But even conditioned will is another human label, a map drawn around a mystery, useful, perhaps, but not the territory. So maybe the deepest question is not, do I have free will? Maybe it is. What is choosing through me right now? Listen, when you catch yourself saying, I should, I ought to, I have to, I shouldn't. These phrases are not automatically wrong. Sometimes they express responsibility or genuine care, but sometimes they're the sound of an old program beginning to run. When you hear them, stop, ask, who says I should?
is this my considered judgment?
Or the echo of a parent, a teacher, a religion, a culture, a childhood fear, or a younger version of myself that once needed protection. Awareness may not erase the program, but it can create a small space between impulse and action, between the inherited command and the person hearing it. Perhaps freedom does not begin with having no influences. Perhaps it begins with seeing those influences clearly enough that they no longer remain invisible. This week, try a simple experiment. Each time you hear yourself say,
I should,
I ought to,
I have to,
or I shouldn't, write the sentence down. Then ask 3 questions. Whose voice does this resemble? What am I afraid might happen if I disobey it? And what would I choose if fear, guilt, obligation, and the need for approval were allowed to speak, but were not given the final word? Do not force yourself to rebel. Simply notice. The goal is to discover which parts of your life are conscious commitments and which are inherited instructions you have never examined. You may not have chosen the first version of yourself. You may not have chosen the language, beliefs, fears, and values from which that self was built. But perhaps freedom begins when you become willing to question what was handed to you.
Not to destroy every belief,
not to reject every duty, but to look at each one and ask, did I choose this?
do I still choose it?
And I still choose it.
And if I do,
Can I choose it?
with my eyes open,
Perhaps that is free will. Not perfect independence from every cause, but the difficult practice of becoming conscious of what has been choosing through you. Thank you for listening. If this story helped you see the world a little differently, subscribe for more philosophical reflections inspired by Taoism, Carl Jung, Alan Watts' Stoicism, and the world's timeless wisdom. Until next time, may your curiosity always be greater than your certainty.